Political story this weekend unfolded largely beyond Washington, D.C., with massive demonstrations at the No Kings protest. Organizers say nearly 7 million people turned out everywhere, from major cities to small rural towns, sending President Trump a clear message about his policies. Many Democratic politicians also took to the streets yesterday in solidarity with protesters.
We are not on the verge of an authoritarian takeover. We are in the middle of an authoritarian takeover. But Trump has not won. Our democracy is in peril, but it can be saved.
Tyranny depends on good people doing nothing. It requires us to accept the unacceptable, to rationalize the irrational, to normalize the abnormal. But tyranny also fails when ordinary people refuse to cooperate, when they say no kings and they mean it.
Joining us now, the co-host of the Bulwark's For You podcast and graduate of Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, Cameron Kasky, along with Liz Winstead, co-creator of The Daily Show and founder and chief creative officer of Winstead Abortion Access. Cam, Liz, thank you very much for coming to the weekend. I'm employing my mellow voice because...
Wow, what's happening?
Yes.
The stroke.
Cape Hard.
I'm not
Cape Hard after dark.
Right. Look.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's AI Cape Hard. Look, I'm employing this voice because we have sound from House Speaker Mike Johnson.
Now he's British.
I really? Did I go British?
A little British. You sound a little British.
Sorry. This is what he had to say about yesterday's No Kings protests on ABC a little bit ago.
The irony of the message is pretty clear for everyone. If President Trump was a king, the government would be open right now. If President Trump was a king, they would not have been able to engage in that free speech exercise out on the mall. I've never called anybody an enemy, but we call out...
Hate America rally or, Antifa pro-Hamas, those are enemies.
Well, there were a lot of hateful messages yesterday. I mean, we have video and photos of pretty violent rhetoric, calling out the president, saying fascists must die and all the rest. I mean, I don't think that's loving speech. I don't think that's friendly speech. And I don't think it's pro-American to say those kinds of things. So it's not about the people. It's about the message. It's about the ideology.
Liz, I'm going to come to you. I mean, the way this man talks BS with a smile, it drives me to distraction every time, to like a slow boiling rage. Your reaction to the soft, dulcet tones of the Speaker of the House? And
I love when he says, it's not very pro-American to say these things. It was like, isn't the foundation of America to be able to say these things, Mike Johnson? And yet every step of the way, the man has a device with which he is monitored to make sure that he doesn't see and witness things that are abhorrent to him. And so I don't understand any of why he thinks anything that happened yesterday was anything other than 100% American and certified within our Constitution.
Cameron, I want to pull up this post from the White House of Trump as a king. It says, "We're built different. Have a good night, everyone." If we can pull that up. Now, the Speaker said the irony of the message is pretty clear to everyone. If President Trump were a king, the White House themselves are putting out pictures and videos of Trump with crowns on, trying to be cute on the internet when folks are saying he's a king, instead of saying, we're not like, he doesn't want to be a king. He wants to be president of the United States. Talk about that kind of complete detachment from reality that Mike Johnson seems to be living in, where the White House is actually leaning into the idea of Donald Trump as a king.
I think them posting the picture of him as a king is part of this power fantasy that has defined not only the administration, but also the efforts that got Trump in the White House again in the first place. It was a power fantasy for the disaffected white men who wanted to feel as though this was their country again. It was a power fantasy for people around the country who wanted some sort of say in their future. Trump came in and said, we need to disrupt the machine and provide something new that can really give you some agency here when you feel like you don't have any. And you see all these AI videos celebrating alligator Alcatraz, the powerful ICE secret police force and things like that. They want to paint a picture of Trump as this effective king, this king who can have his way no matter what he says. And I think that when it comes to Mike Johnson's messaging, there's just a very big lack of coordination across the board in this administration, whether that's them saying the Epstein files are a Democrat hoax, or them saying, no, the Epstein files don't even exist in the first place, but also we're going to release the Epstein files. I don't think they have very good messaging meetings. I think everybody just kind of goes for it, but unfortunately, yeah, the base doesn't hold them accountable for it, so they're just going to keep on, throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Can I just add one more thing too? In a week where we saw these not young Republican operatives just having hateful messages, right, terrible. And to have Mike Johnson saying people with toilet paper rolls that have a picture of a crown and a circle with a line through it are hateful, and to have J.D. Vance say this is just young people saying things and shouldn't be punished is the most hypocritical thing I think that happened this week.
He doesn't even just say young people. He says, these are kids.
These are kids who are 40. Yes.
34-year-old kid.
Well, while we're on the topic of language, I'm going to lean into my bad cop role. But there's a Democratic Senate candidate who's now under fire for some of his past statements that he has made. Graham Plattner, the oyster farmer who's running in the Democratic primary for Senate in Maine, apologized on Friday after past social media posts in which he referred to himself as a communist, criticized police, called rural white Americans racist and stupid, criticized black people for not tipping, and also made pretty egregious comments about rape and sexual assault. Is there room for someone like that in the Democratic Party, Cameron, even if he does apologize and say that that is no longer representative of how he feels and what he stands for?
Well, I was born in 2000, which means that the candidates from my generation are all going to have history of comments that they made online. And this is a pivotal moment for the party to say, okay, to what standard are we going to be holding people? Does it matter when somebody comes out and holds themselves accountable, recognizes their wrongdoing, and says they're going to do better? Or is there going to be a purity test in every single election? I think that we ought to accept and support people taking accountability and saying that they've done something wrong. But it's worth noting that members of the Democratic establishment who are currently going after Plattner for his comments also supported Andrew Cuomo for mayor of New York City with a dozen credible sexual harassment allegations. So respectfully, I would take the candidate who said something wrong and apologized for it over the candidate who did a dozen completely disgusting things and refuses to acknowledge that he even did in the first place and attacks the people who accused him.
I mean, you did the church well, so.
That's well. I mean,
well, you brought up Andrew Cuomo, so I'm going to shift gears here and talk about the Zohran Mamdani Andrew Cuomo debate.
And Curtis.
Curtis was there. Y'all keep erasing Curtis Lee behind. He didn't have his hat on, but he was
Do you
there.
know how long I've known Curtis Lee? I've known Curtis Lee since he had dark hair. Okay, so, but I'm bringing up Zohran Mamdani and Cuomo and not Curtis Lee because this clip I want to show has Andrew Cuomo and Zohran Mamdani. Play it, please.
He literally has never had a job. On his resume, it says he interned for his mother. This is not a job for a first-timer. Any day, you could have a hurricane, you have, God forbid, a 9/11, a health pandemic. If you don't know what you're doing, people could die.
Mr. Mamdani, want to respond?
And if we have a health pandemic, then why would New Yorkers turn back to the governor who sent seniors to their death in nursing homes? That's the kind of experience that's on offer here today. What I don't have in experience, I make up for in integrity. And what you don't have in integrity, you could never make up for in experience.
Yes.
Okay, there's a flamethrower there on the debate stage. I would love to get both of your reactions, but Liz, what did you make of that exchange? What do you make of Cuomo and Mamdani? What do you talk?
I am so profoundly in awe of every time Mamdani speaks or responds, he gets it right. That was the verbal version of the Trump AI video of the dump on the people. It was literally, that was like, boom, you're covered, Cuomo.
We're going to have to show this video now.
Everybody saw it.
Okay, just go do the Googles and just do Trump fighter jet
feces.
Poop.